Canada, a country that has accused India, as you well know, of killing a designated terrorist with a foreign death squad, has just been forced to make the most shocking admission, viewer. And I hope both the Canadian and Indian public are listening very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. The Canadian government has been forced, viewer, to confirm that a man designated as a terrorist by India, a man accused in the murder of a Shaurya Chakra awardee, a man reported to be a member of a group that is banned even by Canada, and is a Canadian government employee. That's the man you see on your screen here. That's right. A terrorist named Sandeep Singh Sidhu, who India has officially made an extradition request for, is a Canadian government employee. In other words, the salary of a man designated as a terrorist and wanted by the world's largest democracy is a Canadian government employee whose salary is paid by the Canadian public. The Canada Border Services Agency, or CBSA, a government entity entrusted with the very sensitive task of border security, has confirmed to an Indian news portal that Sandeep Singh Sidhu is one of its employees. I hardly need to spell out the alarming implications of this admission, but I shall do so because it has become clear now that the Trudeau government is keener to accuse journalists like me for foreign interference rather than even acknowledge how bad this looks for Canada internationally. That Prime Minister Trudeau's accusations have led to strained relations between the two countries is an understatement. Both countries have stripped each other, as you well know, of their high commissioners, and this ill-tempered exchange between India and Canada has led to many Canadian skeletons tumbling one after the other out of an old cupboard of dirty Canadian secrets. But the Sandeep Singh Sidhu admission by the Canadian government takes things to a dangerous new level. This confession by the Canadian government, made to the Prince reporter Bismi Tuskin, adds an alarming dimension to India's allegations against Canada. This angle confirms that Canada is not only a safe haven for India-designated terrorists, but that Canada actively employs them into state-funded positions of a sensitive nature that actually require extra background checks and scrutiny. Did you know that the CBSA, the Border Security Agency of Border Services Agency of Canada, that employs this terrorist Sandeep Singh Sidhu, do you know what it does? It's the Canadian state agency responsible for border security, immigration enforcement, and facilitating legitimate trade and travel. Just think about that for a moment, viewer. And I know the Canadian public is watching this as well very closely. A man wanted by the world's largest democracy, that is India, designated as a terrorist by India's National Investigation Agency, and likely a member of a youth extremist group banned even in Canada, is in a position to influence Canada's border security, immigration, trade, and travel. How has a person with ties to terror activities been able to secure a government job in Canada, especially in a sensitive area like border services, where the recruitment process involves some of the deepest screening of any Canadian government body? The only possible explanation is that Sandeep Singh Sidhu has been deliberately handpicked, deliberately chosen by the Canadian government to fill a sensitive post, specifically so that his criminal skills can be harnessed and deployed for other reasons, perhaps to facilitate the passage of criminals and separatists from Punjab to Canada. For all of Trudeau's grandstanding about terror, the Sandeep Singh Sidhu issue is a landmine that the Trudeau government cannot sidestep and has had no choice but to admit to when asked. The employment of Sidhu at the CBSA is a hilarious contradiction to Canada's stated position on counterterrorism. It also completely undermines, if not exposes, Canada's criticism of India for allegedly targeting individuals on foreign soil, as it implies a willingness to overlook and accommodate those accused of terrorism by India, even in public government positions. At the very least, Canada's admission that it employs Sandeep Singh Sidhu in a government job proves India's point, doesn't it, View? I'm sure you agree with me. And it gives the Indian government enormous leverage to argue that Canada's leniency towards individuals with extremist or terrorist links poses a threat to India's national security. Whether it is Canadian National Police documents suggesting the Canadian government's direct role in the Air India Kanishka bombing in 1985, or the public funding of a designated terrorist in government jobs, Canada has reached a reputational point of no return.